Nick Newman had been through enough battles to recognize the feeling in his gut. It was the same cold, electric tension that crawled up his spine every time Matt Clark's name entered the conversation. The week had started normally, or as normal as things ever were in the Newman orbit. Corporate tensions simmered in the background. Victor had reclaimed control in his own calculated way. The empire stood tall again. Nick had finally allowed himself to believe it was over. Matt Clark had been arrested, escorted away in handcuffs, publicly disgraced. Victor had stood firm that day, watching Matt taken by the police with the quiet confidence of a man who believed the board had been cleared. He had spared Matt's life when he could have destroyed him entirely. In Victor's mind, justice would do the rest. Nick had hated that mercy. Should have crushed him, Nick had muttered that night. Victor had only replied, "The system will handle him." Nick had not trusted that. And then the call came. Nick was in his office when his phone buzzed with a number he recognized immediately. His expression shifted the moment he answered. By the time he hung up, his jaw was locked tight. He stormed straight to Newman Enterprises without warning. Victor was in his office reviewing documents when Nick entered without knocking. "You want to tell me why Matt Clark is walking free?" Nick demanded. Victor's pen stopped mid-signature. "What are you talking about?" "He's out, released, some procedural issue, technicality, doesn't matter, he's free." The room went still. Victor slowly set the pen down. "That's impossible." "It's not," Nick snapped. "He scored his release, I just confirmed it." Victor stood. For a brief second, something dangerous flickered behind his eyes. "I was assured." "Well, you were wrong." The words hung between them like a blade. Nick paced the office. "You handed him over thinking he'd be locked away forever. Now he's out there, and you think he's just going to move on." Victor's voice lowered. "He won't dare." Nick stopped and turned sharply. "You don't know that. He's got nothing left. You took his fortune, you exposed him, you delivered him to the cops. If I were him, revenge would be the only thing on my mind." Victor didn't respond immediately. That silence enraged Nick even more. "You let him live," Nick said quietly. "You gave him a second chance." "I made a strategic decision," Victor replied. Nick laughed bitterly. "Strategic, this is personal." Later that evening, Nick found Sharon Newman at Crimson Lights. He didn't even bother with pleasantries. "He's out." Sharon froze. "Matt?" Nick nodded. Her face hardened instantly. "He can't be." "He is." Sharon's hands trembled slightly as she set down the coffee pot she'd been holding. "After everything he did, after what he put Noah through." Nick's voice dropped. "That's why we can't wait for him to make the first move." Sharon stepped closer. "You think he will?" "I know he will." They locked eyes. There was history between them: pain, love, betrayal, survival. But when it came to protecting their family, they moved as ones. "What's the plan?" Sharon asked. Nick exhaled slowly. "We draw him out." Across town, Matt Clark stepped out of a black sedan and adjusted his jacket. Genoa City hadn't changed. But the way people looked at him had. Some avoided eye contact, others stared openly. He smiled faintly. Let them look. He had lost money, reputation, freedom. But he had not lost his patience. Victor Newman thought he had won. Nick thought he had eliminated a threat. They were both wrong. The first sign came 2 days later. Noah Newman was at Society when he spotted someone across the street. Matt, just standing there, watching. Noah's pulse spiked. He stepped outside. "Enjoying the view," Noah called. Matt's gaze slid to him lazily. "Noah, you look tense." "You should leave." Matt tilted his head. "This is a free city." Noah stepped closer. "You stay away from my family." Matt's smile sharpened. "That sounds familiar." Nick arrived minutes later, having received Noah's frantic text. He saw Matt immediately. Rage flared in his chest. "You got something to say?" Nick demanded. Matt regarded him calmly, "Just enjoying my freedom." Nick stepped forward, fists clenched. Matt leaned in slightly. "Careful, you wouldn't want to violate any restraining orders." Nick's restraint barely held. Sharon arrived soon after, pulling Nick back before things escalated further. Matt watched them carefully. He wasn't here to attack. Not yet. He was here to remind them. "You can't cage me." That night, Nick met with Sharon privately. "He's testing us," Sharon said. "He wants us on edge. And it's working." Nick ran a hand through his hair. "We can't let him dictate this." Sharon nodded. "So we trap him." Nick looked at her. "You're sure?" "I'm done reacting." Meanwhile, Noah couldn't shake the image of Matt standing outside society. And when Sienna Bacall returned to Genoa City unexpectedly, his worry doubled. He found her at the Grand Phoenix. "You came back," he said. Sienna smiled softly. "I had unfinished business." Noah hesitated. "Matt's out." Her expression changed instantly. "I heard. He's unstable." "He's always been unstable," Sienna replied quietly. Noah's jaw tightened. "He might target you." "Let him try." Noah stepped closer. "I won't let anything happen to you." Back at Newman Enterprises, Victor Newman confronted Victor. "You were wrong." Victor didn't deny it. "Matt's release complicates matters," he said. "Complicates," Victoria repeated sharply. "He's dangerous, and you're not exactly in perfect health." Victor waved off the concern. "I can handle him." Victoria's eyes flashed. "This isn't about ego, it's about survival." She left determined. If Nick and Sharon were planning something, she wanted in. The next meeting happened at Sharon's house. Nick, Sharon, Victoria. Three Newmans united. "He'll expect retaliation," Victoria said. "Which is why we don't give him what he expects," Sharon replied. Nick leaned forward. "We create an opportunity he can't resist." Victoria understood immediately. "You bait him." Nick nodded. They would leak information, make it appear as if Victor was vulnerable, isolated. Matt wouldn't be able to resist taking a shot at the man who destroyed him. But they would be ready. As the plan unfolded, Matt remained patient. He noticed the whispers. Victor's supposed private meeting. Minimal security. A rare window. Matt smiled to himself. Too easy. He wasn't reckless. He knew a trap when he saw one. But he also knew pride. Victor's pride. Nick's anger. They wanted him to strike. Fine. He would. But on his terms. Part 2. The night of the supposed private meeting arrived. Victor remained at Newman Enterprises later than usual. Lights glowed in his office. Security presence appeared minimal. Too minimal. Nick and Victoria were positioned discreetly within the building. Sharon monitored from a secure location nearby. Noah had been told to stay out of it. He hadn't listened. Meanwhile, Sienna sat alone in her suite at the Grand Phoenix, unaware she was already part of Matt's alternate plan. Matt watched Newman Enterprises from a distance. Then he looked down at his phone. A different address blinked on the screen. He chuckled. "If you want revenge," he murmured, "go for the heart." Instead of heading toward Victor, Matt's car veered in the opposite direction. Towards Sienna. Noah was halfway to Newman Enterprises when he got the alert from hotel security. Unidentified visitor requesting Sienna's floor. He froze. Then he turned his car around. Back at Newman Enterprises, Nick waited. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. Victoria frowned. Where is he? Nick's phone buzzed. Noah's name flashed across the screen. Nick answered instantly. He's not coming to you, Noah said breathlessly. He's at the Grand Phoenix. Nick's stomach dropped. Sienna. Nick didn't waste a second. He and Victoria rushed out. At the hotel, Matt stood calmly outside Sienna's door when she opened it. Her eyes widened. You've got nerve, she said. Matt's expression was unreadable, just wanted to talk. I have nothing to say to you. A shame. He stepped forward, but before he could enter, Noah appeared at the end of the hallway. Step away from her. Matt turned slowly. I was hoping you'd show. Nick and Victoria arrived moments later. Suddenly the hallway felt too small. Matt looked between them, amused. You really think you can corner me? Nick stepped forward. You don't get to terrorize my family. Matt's eyes darkened. Your family destroyed mine. Victor's voice cut through the tension from behind them. That's enough. Everyone turned. Victor stood at the far end of the hall, flanked by security. Matt stared at him. You're the real target, Matt said quietly. Victor met his gaze evenly. You've already lost. Matt smiled faintly. Have I? Before anyone could react, Matt lifted his hands slowly. I didn't come to hurt her. Nick didn't believe him. But security closed in. This time there was no procedural mistake. No loopholes. Victoria had ensured airtight legal preparation in advance. Sharon had coordinated with law enforcement quietly. Matt had walked into their strategy, even if not the one they initially planned. As he was escorted away again, Matt glanced back at Victor. This isn't over. Victor's expression remained steel. It is. In the days that followed, Genoa City buzzed with the news. Matt Clark had been rearrested. Charges were stronger. Evidence cleaner. Nick finally allowed himself to breathe. At Sharon's house, they gathered again. Nick, Sharon, Victoria, Noah. Sienna joined them quietly. It's done, Victoria said. For now, Sharon added. Nick looked at his family. We protect each other, he said firmly, no matter what. Victor later met Nick privately. You handled yourself well, Victor said. Nick studied him. We handled it. Victor nodded slowly. I underestimated him, Victor admitted. Nick didn't gloat. That won't happen again, Victor added. Nick believed him this time. The triple threat had worked. Sharon's strategy. Victoria's precision. Nick's determination. Together they had outmaneuvered Matt. And though scars remained, the Newman family stood intact. For now. Because in Genoa City, peace was never permanent. But loyalty. That was their real weapon.